Hey everybody, Nerd Transformed here again, and today I'm reviewing the Transformers Galaxy Force Voyager class Starscream. Now this is the version from Galaxy Force, as Cybertron, their main Starscream was the Supreme class, which was a blown up version of this particular figure. Although there are some different transformation elements, a couple other different elements. This figure is incomplete as I am missing the gun that would go right here, but it was just a little simple missile launcher, pretty much the same. It's pretty much almost like Hotshot's missile launcher, you know, you would just peg it in right here and it would just be under Starscream, and it was just a little cylinder with a missile sticking out of it. And from what I remember the show, he didn't really have a weapon like that, at least not just like a little hand cannon that he would carry around, so I don't really feel like it's a... Plus this is the Japanese version, and it's hard to get a replacement for that particular accessory since this is a Japanese figure. Now, there were releases of this figure in the US. There was a Transformers Universe version that was painted as Dirge in G1 Dirge colors. And there was a release of Starscream in this size class in Cybertron as a 2-pack, but that one was like brown and silver and a little bit purple, and it wasn't accurate in the least to the actual show figure. So if you wanted a Starscream that was mostly in scale with the other figures and was show accurate, you had to buy the Japanese release of Galaxy Force here. And as you can see, he is really nicely painted. He does look really nice. He does have his head just kind of sitting there, but it is a Cybertronian style jet, so it's really not a big deal that his head's kind of just right there. Plus, he does still have a cockpit, even despite the fact that he's not really going to have any passengers. I guess maybe a Minicon could sit in there? But I really do like how this jet looks, this Tetra style jet. It reminds me of the jets from the when they were on Cybertron in the first few episodes of G1. Just that triangular look. It looks very nice. I would love to see this in like a G1 style color scheme. I wish they would do something like that. And as far as and it does actually roll. It does actually have little wheels down here. Speaking of designs, it actually is very similar to the War Within Starscream, which there was the titanium mold that pretty much fulfilled that purpose. But I feel like this looks a lot better and it's a much nicer toy. As far as the differences from the Supreme class, the transformation is slightly different, as on here, this little front red piece stays with the feet, while in the Supreme class it folds up underneath the cockpit in robot mode. I know in the Supreme class, these cannons right here move up and down, so that doesn't have this, but honestly you're pointing forward, so the only reason you need him point upward really is when you're in robot mode, but he has other guns for that. Or he had an air gun, which I lost, or did not have. And I know for the Supreme class, instead of 2 swords, one of these would become a gun. I believe it was the left one. But besides that, it's pretty much the same exact figure, just smaller and honestly a lot clunkier. Now, he does have a gimmick. I do not have the key, but honestly, all these keys are the same anyway. And what you do is you plug it in right here, right under where the tail fin is. And when you do, let's see if I can get it on camera. Alright, put the key in, and bam! Both swords flip out of the arms. This is a bit more useful in robot mode, but it is nice that it works in jet mode still, so you could have some blades sticking out that you could ram somebody with, per se. Plus, what's really nice is no matter what direction you have these arms pointing in, the gimmick will still work. I'll show that more off in robot mode, but it's a pretty neat little gimmick. It's a gimmick that works without, like, breaking something or hindering arm movement, because the arms are still fully posable. So yeah, pretty cool jet mode, decent little gimmick. I like all the details on here. You do get the red coming all the way down to kind of meet with the nose cone. I like what they do with the feet to kind of hide the feet. They kind of work themselves into the nose cone, and honestly, if you didn't know that's what the feet were, it's actually kind of hard to tilt his feet until you look at the underside. Even then, it's like, okay, there's the legs, but are those feet? Although I will admit, yeah, his arms are just pegged to the bottom. They're just hanging down under there. Which does kind of suck. He also has a peg hole right here, so I guess you could probably attach him to some flight stand or something. You could probably do the same using the gun peg hole there. So, there's that. So, let's go ahead and get the transformation. Transformation is pretty simple. Come to the front, and you're going to split it. These pieces up front are rubber, so they're even kind of hard to split. And you're going to keep splitting it further until the feet start sticking out, like so. Go ahead and take the side parts, they'll click back one each, and that'll give you the room you need to bring out the legs. The legs were basically all folded up inside the calves here, so you're going to unfold them down. Go ahead and twist them forward. He's got pointy shoes, we're about to fix that. come to the bottom of the feet and flip out these pieces to make heel spurs, and flip the fronts of the nose cones in, and there you have his legs. And yeah, the whole leg section's already done. He's a pretty simple transform, but he's also really fun. Take this whole piece and it'll come down this hinge, and there's a tab hole right here, and there's a tab right behind in front of the wheel here. Click together nice and solidly. Rotate the shoulders forward or upward. Come into the back and flip the arms down. They'll also have a tab click in. And finally come to the back, split the tail fin, fold it down. And there you have your Galaxy 4 Starscream in his robot mode. Alright, I forgot to show off this comparison in vehicle mode, but here he is next to the Deluxe class Hotshot. And now Hotshot's pretty big for a Deluxe, but you can see even here, Starscream's still much bigger. And wider, of course. So here you have him in the robot mode, and you can see a lot of details are left over from the vehicle mode, but you can see him a bit better here, like the venting, the pipe. You can see some piping detail in his legs there, which is pretty nice. You can get a better look at his arms now. You can even see his arm guards are pretty hard to see, but you can see they are detailed for his arm guards there. And you do have the traditional wings come off of Starscream. Well, instead of coming from the back, they are coming off of his arms. So, some may not like that look. I personally don't mind it. I like how powerful and almost like a commander he looks. This is a Starscream I can believe could take over the Decepticons, which he did. This was like the most successful Starscream of all the Starscreams to taking over. Speaking of which, let's look at that head sculpt. I really like it. I think it's a really nice head sculpt. It's very, very much Starscream. This is what I feel like the classics or generation Starscream should have as a head mold, because it's a very, very nice homage to the original Starscream while also bringing something new. Kind of reminds me of a lot of the Armada Starscream, which I guess fits since these were part of the Unicron trilogy, at least in America. Only detail I like, I wish these were more like just circles, kind of like the ones above, instead of going all the way down like so. It looks a little odd. But hey, he does have his head pillars that the G1 character had. Only kibble he really has is, I mean, I guess you could count these bits on the arm where the gimmick is. But, I mean, it's kind of part of the design. Yeah, you do have the tail fins kind of just sticking out. The gimmick piece isn't sticking out too bad, except for like the piece where the chip sits on. But yeah, those stick out pretty far. I mean, half of his whip here is just the tail fin sticking off. But as I mentioned, the gimmick works here too, and just to show off that it does work in any direction, I'm going to put it back here. And there we go, if your hands don't get in the way. But as you can see, no matter how you have the arms, you can have them outward, you can have them inward, you can have them... The gimmick still flips out no matter what. I'm guessing there's some kind of like little pole going through this that clicks into here and that unfolds the gimmick somehow. That's my guess to how the gimmick works, but it's a really cool gimmick considering his arms are not hindered in the least by it. I mean, they are fully working here. I mean, let's go ahead and go over articulation to show it off. I mean, you do get a head swivel. The arms do fully rotate, and they can go outward this far, and they can go slightly inward, which is pretty nice. And the arm kibble does bump against some of the other kibble in certain ways, like back here, it gets stuck on the tail fin. But you can just still work around it, you can still have it going fully outward. A decent amount, not much, but it's enough that you can get the idea of him having his arms outward. And the inward movement is pretty nice. No swivel, unfortunately. No swivel at above the elbow, which is really unfortunate. Elbow is ratcheted, so you can only have it in 3 positions. This, 45 degrees, and 90 degrees. It makes his arms look really stubby when you have them out at a 90-degree angle. He just looks so... I'm angry. It makes him look like an angry little tyrant that's almost kind of adorable in a way. It's really weird. The legs, however, is where we get some really good articulation. We get some nice ratcheted, going full 90 degrees sideways. Forward, starts bumping against the guns, but you can still get pretty far forward. Going back, not hindered at all. You do get a swivel, get a ratcheted knee that almost works as a double knee. Goes pretty dang far. And you do get some ankle movement. You get a slight amount forward and you get pretty far going back, so you can kind of get him stepping forward, look like he's about to... You do have to work with it a bit into a certain position, but once you get going, you could have your Starscream looking completely ridiculous. But, you know, the posing is there if you want to use it, if you can come up with a pose for it. Like so, there you go. You can get the certain poses going with it, which is pretty nice. And I think he looks pretty good. I do like all the details on him. I like all the little piping and venting you see on his chest. You see all these little bits just to break up the red a little bit. The purple cockpit still looks pretty nice. Little bits of gold and yellow here and there to kind of help break up all the red, gray, and black. It is still kind of the Armada Unicron trilogy color scheme, but it's the most refined out of it, I think. It's a very nice looking Starscream. And like I said, it kind of works for the War Within Starscream too, if you're into that. If you were into that comic series when it was out. I really like the detail on the sword. It's hard to see it because it's clear plastic. But there's a very nice like spark effect in the middle with like a techno kind of thing going through it. If you know Upgrade from Ben 10, it kind of has that same similar look of just a circle of lines coming out all the way across. Very nice circuitry detail. Looks very cool. I also like the little pillars on his shoulders. Something about that just makes me think he can like have an engine going, just really just ram the sword in. Have some kind of thing going like that where he just Autobot. Something fun like that. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I really like the detail in this figure. It's got really good paint. My only bad part about this figure is the articulation. That is my only, and even then it's mainly just the arm articulation. He really could have used those elbow swivels. He could also use a bit longer of an arm too, or even like wrist swivel. I mean, this is the swordsman Starscream. I do like that he still is a swordsman without having to use actual swords. This is pretty nice. This is pretty different and cool for a Transformer. And this is one of the few figures where I feel like the gimmick is worth it, because it really doesn't hinder the figure. I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, yeah, there's no elbow swivel, but that's not because of the gimmick, it's just because they didn't put an elbow swivel in. So that's on the fault of the creators there, and there really is no reason they couldn't put an elbow swivel in. They could have easily just cut it right there. But, you know, this was 2005. This is just before the classic series started coming out and revamped articulation for Transformers. But yeah, I would still consider him a great figure. One of the best out of the Unicron trilogy. Definitely one of the best out of the Cybertron / Galaxy Force line. If you can get any version of this figure, I'm not sure how much the Galaxy Force version is going for on eBay, but I know you can find the Cybertron version and the Universe version for about 20 to 30 bucks, which isn't too bad for this figure. I mean, he's a pretty bulky, heavy figure. I mean, this is back when they still had a budget for the plastic and the paint, so he's a really nice figure. If you can find any version of him, I would recommend picking it up. Pick which colors you like and go for it. So this has been Nerd Transformed. I hope you enjoyed this review, and hope you have a good day. Take care.